Hi there folks, in this video we're gonna go through why do we need to sometimes bind a function in JavaScript. This page over here is to do with binding event handlers in class components in React, but it is also relevant to just vanilla JavaScript as well. I think this is a bit outdated because I haven't seen this in new code examples, but it used to be the case where sometimes you need to use bind many times in a constructor. I'll go through why that's the case. Well, what is bind? I'm gonna explain that as well. Without the bind, if we have a look at this example, in the event handler function called handleClick, console logging this is undefined. So this is undefined. I need to explain further to explain why this is the case. Okay, so the default binding means context of this results to the window or the global object. So if you console log this inside a function, then this points to the global object. But if you create an object and in there create a function and call console log this again, this time this will point to the object. That's what's called implicit binding. Okay, but pay attention to this. You can corrupt the this context used here if you do this. If you use assignment operator on the display function, then this makes it to lose this context applied by the implicit binding. So as you can see here, it's console logging this.name, it's console logging this string instead. So somehow this assignment operator made it to lose this context, and it resorted back to the default binding. Another case where the loss of this context happens is if you use the callback function. You can see here it's calling the callback function inside the function called setTimeout, and you are passing the display function of the object obj as the callback function. This is like how this assignment operator made it to lose this context. It's like this. It's like as if assignment operator has been applied to the callback. In the same way, it causes it to lose its implicit binding. Okay. Um, yeah, so if you execute this, you will console log this text instead after 1 second. To fix this or to avoid this, you can do explicit hard binding, and this is the case where you use the bind method that we've seen that we have seen here. So this line is important. What it does is it binds this context of the display method as the object obj, and the return value of the bind method is to create a new function with this context explicitly bound. So this is reassigning the display function with this context explicitly hard bound to be obj. So if you do the assignment operator again and execute, this time it will not console outlog this, but instead Sarah, which is yeah. So by doing explicit hard binding using the bind method, you can avoid losing its implicitly bound this context. For those of you who are not familiar with the bind method or haven't seen it before, I'll go through it one more time. obj.display.bind with the obj passed as its this value returns a new function with explicitly bound this value. So this bind call returns a new function that you assign as the new display function, and in this new display function, it's this context has been hard bound to be obj, so it will not lose its implicitly bound this context. It will keep this context even when you assign a variable to it and then you execute it. Okay. This is the same scenario but not restricted to the React. Okay, so yeah, so here again you use the assignment operation to make it lose its implicitly bound this context, and if you execute that, you will try to console log this.name, but this is undefined, so you cause a type error. When the default binding occurs, if it's not set to strict mode, it will resort to being the global or the window object, but inside a class it is presumed to be in strict mode, so it will cause a type error instead. Okay. to prevent the error, you can use this. So you're creating a new display function with the explicitly bound this value. So even when this assignment operation is applied, it will still be bound to class foo in this case. You can do that bind call inside the constructor, or you can do it outside of the class. Here you are assigning a new foo.display function with the explicitly bound this value as the foo itself. Okay, so it has the same effect. Okay, if you use arrow functions, you don't need to worry about losing the implicitly bound this value. You can either use the arrow function as the definition for the event handler function, or you could call it within the JSX as the arrow function. Then in these two cases, you don't need to worry about this bind thing. Okay, so going up and looking at the very first example, if you wanted to here, when you're rendering the foo component, if you wanted to render it, you could use like on click or on click, and then the this handle click like this. This should work because you explicitly bound this value here using the bind call. Okay, if you did not do this, then here will cause an error because this is undefined. Okay, I'll just go through this quite quickly. It's to do how value of this is computed in JavaScript code. Here again, in this case, the variable a has this value set to global, and here this value over here is now set to obj. Okay, because you're calling from an object over here. Okay, here you're using the call method with this object has this value. So what you expect here, all the foo does is it console logs this.bar. Here this value has been explicitly defined here, so you just console log 1 because value of bar is 1. Okay, so I'll differentiate between these three calls. Okay, so bind returns a new function with explicitly bound this value. Call and apply, they are different from bind in that bind returns a new function with the new this value, but call and apply executes the function just once. Okay, only difference between call and apply is that the parameters for call are specified like this. In apply, it is passed as an array. Okay. Here, as you call a function with new keyword, we call it as constructor function. Here we are doing it here, so you could call point2d as a constructor function, and because you have created a new object using the new operator, this over here, it will be pointed to point2d. Yep. Well, I'm sorry. This value over here will be p1. Okay. Here it works as expected. Everything works as expected. Okay, so we have two properties, name and sound, which we have used it to construct a new object called kitty, and the make sound function just console logs this.name says this.sound. So if you call on that function, it just says fat daddy says moo, right? Because you have constructed a new object by this new operator. If you add an additional function inside the cat called annoy, it says here, surprisingly, this dot make sound fails because this has been set to undefined. Okay, why is this? It's because in set interval function, inside of here, if you got this here, this has lost its implicit binding. Now this is undefined because of the set interval function. So inside of the set interval function, this became undefined. It has lost its implicit binding once again. So you can fix this in two ways. As it says here, you could pass, if you could pass this value as a variable and then call the make sound function with it. That could work. Or you could just pass to the set interval function, or sorry, the set interval method, a arrow function. Because of the what's called lexical binding inside of an arrow function, this will not be lost. This value will not be lost. Okay. So if it's not obvious, if this note hasn't told you, you may never know why this line fails. Okay. So that's really important. It fails because inside the set interval method, the function passed has lost its implicitly set this value. This here, this is undefined. And as I said before, you could say something like self equals this, and then inside set interval function, you could do something like self dot function, something like that. Or you could do set interval, and then you could just pass a arrow function to it, and that will solve the problem too. Okay, so now we understand what this means. To avoid losing implicitly set this value or this context, you have to use something like this, so that you create a new function with this explicitly bound this context value and assign it to the function itself. So when this function is called from outside the class, this value is hard set to be full and not undefined. So that's what it is. Thank you very much, and see you next time.